Hi, Lynn.
Hi, Robert.
Glad you decided to join us for this.
Thank you for having me.
You know, I've been doing this for several, 3 decades, and I got this most unusual call this one day, and the person on the other on the line just simply said, "I need to be hypnotized, and I need to be hypnotized right now." And I thought, well, that's kind of an unusual call. And I said, well, it's 5 o'clock now, and well, I need to be hypnotized right now. And I said, how about 6 o'clock? And so we met at 6 o'clock, and that's where it all started.
Yeah, I was very anxious.
You want to kind of share why you called me?
Yeah, so I was having, issues in life regarding my love life, and I wanted fixing right there in that moment because I had just had enough. So.
Sure.
I did some online research and came across you and saw your portfolio online, and I called and you answered and you said, yeah, get in here at this time. So
it was, like I said, it was kind of an unusual experience, but it was obviously it was something that turned out real well.
Yes, absolutely. I'm very grateful.
And I've always felt through the years, when people talk about human beings want to change, I've always had this philosophy, and that is people will change when they reach the point of readiness for change.
Absolutely.
Now, for some people that could be 40 years, but so until the person reaches the point of readiness for change, they're just not going to change.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knew when the urgency of that phone call, I thought, in the back of my mind, I said, she's ready to change. I better get right on this, because it's like kind of a silly analogy, but it's kind of like you pick watermelons when they're ripe, and this one was really ripe, so I felt that if I didn't accommodate her, that it would turn out badly.
Well, thank you for acknowledging my sense of urgency. I really appreciate it.
And what did you like most about the whole thing?
What was the coolest was whenever I went into my hypnosis and you had me go back to the first thing that I remembered, as far back as I could remember, and then even further back and even further back, and I realized things that I had completely blocked out of my life.
Sure.
That I had no idea were affecting me in such a way, right? As humans, our mind is capable of anything, so I always thought I was stronger in, overcoming and...
Sure.
So that was the coolest thing for me, was going back and re-experiencing.
Kind of regressing back to when that behavior started, where you maybe were in a situation where part of the upbringing you were exposed to things that made you uncomfortable about being in charge, or uncomfortable about making decisions that were for your best interest. You're kind of like probably the example of a really nice girl that, sometimes they finish last because they're too nice.
Yes. Yep.
And that's what happens. So, and wasn't it also interesting to learn that during that experience, it's like when we start to go back in time, we say, yeah, that happened there, but then all of a sudden there's all these other things that happen.
Yeah.
Because people think that, example, something like fear of flying. They had one bad airplane ride, and there was severe turbulence, and all of a sudden they were petrified to ever fly again.
Yeah.
But yet you'll find out, if you go back in time, that they had several experiences when they were young where they were afraid of something, and maybe they got caught at the top of the Ferris wheel, or they fell out of the back seat of the car or something, and all of a sudden, so there's this huge fear, and it's kind of like resting there, so to speak. There's like sensitizing events, and we just kind of keep repressing them, and try to think that if we ignore them long enough, they just won't come back.
Yeah, well, that's not the case. So, thanks to you, I was able to overcome those suppressing moments in my life and,
Were you
move
surprised
on
that it was pretty quick? I think it was like maybe about 4 visits or so.
Yeah, so we were successful after the 3rd visit.
Yes.
Yeah, so I still had another visit, but you were able to help me overcome and fix what I was looking to fix.
Yes.
In 3 visits.
And when there's a bad story, there's always a happy ending that goes along with the bad story. So what's your happy ending? I mean, you came to see me. I helped you kind of resolve this this toxic relationship. And so what's happened since then? How long has it been? What's the difference in the way you view the world? What's the difference in the way you feel about relationships, about a significant other? What's the most meaningful thing that happened to you?
Sure. So the most meaningful thing would be there is good men out there that will create a good relationship with you. So I still have hope and love. I actually started dating someone. I won't go into details on that, but it just opened my eyes to so much more as far as like love goes.
And isn't it kind of true that like when we are in some kind of a toxic relationship, it's like we're totally blind to
blind.
There's even anything wrong with it. You know,
Got the wool right over your eyes.
It's like he really loves me because he does this, and this, and I go, yeah, but he does this, and this, which is in direct opposition to you. So I just think that that's always good. Like I've always mentioned that, you know, that I just feel lucky. You know, I love what I do. I make a good living, and I'm instrumental in helping people change their lives. And it's like, you really can't put a price tag on that one.
No, you can't.
You know, it's just,
that's awesome.
It's as good as it gets. So what else do you want to share? I mean,
as far as my experience and, you know, interacting with you, so other people know if they ever look into Dallas Hypnosis and, you know, potentially coming to see you, you were like there for me when I couldn't open up to family or friends, anybody at all. You know, you said, Lynn, you need to pick up that phone and call me. So I did just that, and you would help me through, you know, some moments. So
just maybe a bad evening or something.
Yeah, or just moments of weakness. You know, here I am going through this hypnosis process to move forward and, you know, my love life. And obviously, whenever you're doing that, that individual is going to be some sort of obstacle, trying to not let you, you know, veer away. And in those moments, I would call you, and you picked up the phone, and you listened to me, and you advised me, and you were just like a support for me.
Part of the support system.
Yeah. So, you know, I didn't pay for those services, but you still provided those. So I want people to know, you know, if you are going through anything, aside from just being hypnotized and, you know, going through regression, Robert was there for me, and I'm sure would be there for you as well, in other ways when you can't go to anybody else.
And see, it's unfortunate for me to bring up this statement, but I think you know as well as I know, there's so many women out there that are abused in some kind of way. I mean, unfortunately, there's the ones that are physically beat, but that's not even all of it. It's like there's so many that are so in such relationships. I mean, I've seen plenty of it through the years where people just, you know, they're in these horrible relationships, and then they said, but he's a very good father.
Yeah.
He takes very good care of the children.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, but he beat you.
Yeah.
But I did something wrong. So if you were to
that doesn't justify.
If you were trying to talk to that woman out there that's either in that toxic relationship or she was physically or mentally or emotionally abused, what would you tell them as far as why hypnosis could make a difference? Maybe why a guy like me seems to over-deliver, or whatever you want to call it. What would you tell them to give them some hope?
To give them some hope. Well, first of all, I want to create some sort of awareness. So like you said, you know, physical abuse. Mine necessarily wasn't physical abuse. Sure. It was emotional, verbal abuse. Oh my God, I'm in a blank. So the hypnosis helped me understand my value, number one. So once you understand your value and you understand why you're accepting the things that you have accepted, you all of a sudden understand, wow, this is my worth. I will not tolerate that. You know, so I think that hypnosis definitely helped me in that area.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know, and it's not something that I need to do all the time, but it's something I really actually do with everybody, and that is kind of like what I told you. Even though we finished our work, you know, if you have a bad time or you know, you got a bad decision coming up and you can't make the decision, pick up the phone, give me a call. I'm not a lawyer. You're not going to be charged or nothing. I'm just happy to extend that to you, because
Thank you.
Like, you know, I'm thankful to spend the time with you, but more important than anything else, I just know what a difference it made in your life, and to me, that's as good as it gets,
Thank you so much.
you know? So thanks a lot for spending the time and sharing it with us.
Thank you for having me.